And it's Monday. Welcome back. And last week was an interesting week. We had a lot of unusual situations, and a couple of them over the weekend too, where I thought a good topic for today would be how to avoid taking the exit to crazy town. In other words, how do you stay out of the crazy? And there's a lot of crazy that goes on in our business. I got a call last week from a consumer. And part of my job is fielding calls from consumers when they're angry, or when they're not angry, which is rare that they call me. And this consumer was really upset with one of our agents. And I was flabbergasted because the agent is someone who always has a smile on her face and always a nice word, has never come across in any way, shape, or form but professional. And the situation de-escalated quickly, let's just say. I listened to her rant at me for about 20 minutes. And then she, in a very commanding way, said, I'll give you 1 hour to come up with an answer and call me back. And I said, ma'am, I don't think I need an hour. I think I have the answer right now. And the answer is, I don't understand why you would call a real estate agent for advice for a piece of information that was in the ad, and the agent took it upon themselves to do what they do to make a living, and now you're angry and upset because the agent was trying to do her job and you wanted to cut her out of making a living. I don't even know how to begin to answer that. And she got very angry and said, well, if that's the only answer you have for me, then we have nothing to talk about. And I said, I think you're right. And she said, well, then I'm going to sue you. And I said, you go right ahead. Let me assure you that we as a company do not take threats of being sued lightly. And it's our policy that when we are being threatened, we will terminate conversations. We will not engage in that kind of behavior. Rest assured that we're not afraid of somebody threatening us. And it sets a standard. It's a standard that I wanted to share with all of you because it relates to your business as well. As you know, I have 2 daughters who are adult now. They weren't always grown up. They were quite small at one point. And one of the things that I taught them, I preached to them, if you will, is that behavior tolerated is behavior taught. Behavior tolerated is behavior taught. If you tolerate behavior that is unacceptable to you, you are teaching that person to treat you that way in the future. You are actively teaching them to treat you badly if they treat you badly and you accept it. If you don't stop them and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to allow you to treat me that way. So keep that in mind. Behavior tolerated is behavior taught. Every time you have a client who is acting out like this particular consumer was, you don't need to do that. You don't need to suffer that, which is my next slide, which says, never let anyone verbally abuse you. Never. you will be teaching them how you expect to be treated in the future. It's really that simple. If you allow yourself to be verbally abused, they're going to think that's perfectly okay. And you're the only one who can stop it. So, I encourage you to establish your expectations clearly. This is a really good meeting for, or a really good reminder to have meetings with your clients when you first start working with them. For example, if I have a buyer who calls me and wants to buy a house with me, the first thing that I require, it's not an option, is that we sit down in my office or at a Panera or someplace and have coffee and talk about what our expectations are from one another. Not just their expectations of me, but my expectations of them. And then I say to them, based on our conversation, am I the kind of person that you would feel comfortable in working with to help you buy a home? Yes or no? And if their answer is no, thank you very much. I've enjoyed the opportunity to meet you. Goodbye. If the answer is yes, then I expect to have a buyer's agency contract signed when I leave there. I don't go show houses to people when I'm not going to get paid. On my buyer's agency contract, for example, it says any property in Michigan, regardless of whether it is for sale by owner or a build job or a listed property, anywhere in Michigan, that pretty much covers it. And I'm not kidding. If I'm going to go to work for someone and they say, well, gee, well, what if we find it, aren't we doing the work ourselves? And I said, well, that may be true that you found that particular house, but I've been working to find you and showing you houses and so on. Let me put it to you this way. Let's say that you're a tool and die maker and you go in every day and you make your tools and your dies, and at the end of the week you go up to the pay window and you say, I'd like to have my money for making tools and dies all week, and the paymaster says to you, well, thanks, you've done a great job, you worked really hard, and we gave your check to Bill over there. That's kind of how it feels when you lose a buyer to a for sale by owner. So I establish those expectations very early on, and I enforce them. So make your expectations very clear. You'll find that if you do that, you're going to have fewer problems in the long run. Don't get sucked into the drama. Never. Don't take the bait. You're going to find that in this business, there is always someone smarter than you. No matter how smart you are, there is always someone who thinks, at least, they're smarter than you. So sometimes it's best to just let them think that, rather than engage with them in a non-productive or counterproductive conversation. Popping the clutch and letting her fly down the drag strip in a road race over something that doesn't matter sucks energy from you. It's not worth it to get on the drama hook. Stay out of it. Keep your eye on the prize. What's the prize? Your objective is not winning an argument. Your objective is winning the home for your client or your seller selling the home. Stay focused. The little stuff doesn't really matter as long as you stay focused on what your objective is and focus your energies on that. Pick your battle. Pick your battles. Again, very few battles are worth fighting. In fact, almost none of them are. There are going to be those where it's going to be worthwhile. But if you're going to engage with a listing agent, for example, who doesn't like your offer and you want them to present that offer even though they have told you that they don't like your offer, are you winning? Are you engaging in a battle that is unwinnable? Probably. And again, what's your objective? Your objective is to win the house for your buyer. So sometimes it's better to say, you know what? This isn't a battle worth fighting. This isn't going to help me accomplish my objective. This is only going to undermine my success. So pick your battles. Remember that very few of them are worth fighting. Let's see, what else we have here? Oh. Make time for you. How many of you feel the stress of this business? Now, this has been a seller's market for quite some time, and going on several years now. And a lot of us get caught up in the business, in making a living, in working a lot of hours. And I get that. I do too. But sometimes you have to stop and do what's good for you. Just you. Not your family, not your spouse or significant other. Just you. What makes you happy? I had a lot of fun with some friends on Saturday. Went down to the Cottage Bar and One Trick Pony, listened to some Irish music, drank some Guinness, and had a great time. And then on Sunday, I thought, what makes me happy? Well, some of you know that I ride a bicycle. I do that a lot when the weather's nice. Weather wasn't particularly nice on Sunday, but I also write. And so on yesterday, I sat down and did a bit of writing. And I sat down just to write a couple of paragraphs and kind of clean a couple of things up that I had been working on. And as it turned out, about 2.5 hours later, I got up from my chair and I went, oh, didn't see that coming. That was kind of fun. It felt good. It was me time. And whatever your me time is, don't let anyone take it from you. Not your clients, not your family, not your spouse or significant other. Don't let anyone take your me time. Why? Because if you do, you won't live happy. Live happy. See, it says it right there. People are drawn to happy people. They avoid negative people. If you're always feeling stress, if you give off that vibe to potential buyers and sellers, they don't feel comfortable working with someone who's always under stress. I'm going to share something here, which I think, I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best here. Which is something, Rudyard Kipling wrote a poem called If. And the first, well, alrighty then. And we got that all on film. This is a drip dry computer, I hope.
You're going to get this. You guys are ready to go.
See, when we say it's live, we really mean it's live. Here, slide that under there. I don't know how this is going to work. I think we're good here. Okay. Dom gets extra tips for being my busboy today.
The rest of these. You good, Don?
I'm good. So, I just posted the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. And first, I'm glad to know the computer still works. That's what's really most important. And I encourage you all to take a moment and read it. Okay, moving on. Love it. They don't like negative people. Don't try not to be negative. Try to find your joy in what you do every day, what makes you happy, because ultimately that is going to exude to those that you work with. And how do you do that? Well, especially when you have family. Sometimes you got to find balance. I assure you that I'm not so removed from when I was raising my children and racing them from dance class to band and all of their activities that kids today have that they're involved in, that I don't remember how hectic it was. I also remember it was probably one of the best times of my life. But in that process, when you are giving your all, you have to maintain balance. You have to find some place to say, no, I can't do that. I can't be everything to everyone all of the time, 24/7. There are sometimes that you call me on the weekends and I might be bicycle riding or writing, and I don't answer the phone, not because I don't want to, but because I have to. I have to allow myself time to replenish and be happy and be good for you. Otherwise, I'd be crankier than I normally am, and nobody wants that. And always keep your sense of humor. No matter how bad things get, like dumping your glass of water all over your brand new computer and everything else. We're going to laugh someday, Dom. We're going to laugh about this. I promise you. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later today.
When this is done.
The other and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post something else here. I posted this a while back. I actually shared this in a company meeting some time ago. Is it Command V? Yes, it is. And it's a speech. It's a commencement speech. And it's called How You Livin'. And I encourage you today to take a moment and watch this video. Again, I know that I shared it with you a year, maybe two ago. I don't recall exactly. So for those of you who weren't with the company then or didn't see it at the company meeting or whatever it was that I shared it, I encourage you to watch this. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. I know that when I saw it, I did. So, whoops. I don't know where I just lost that one. We'll try that again here. So, any questions today? While I'm trying to get this to boot up here for you. Which I don't seem to be having a lot of success in doing.
In your hand.
Yeah, why is this not dropping down for me? To where it says post.
Yeah, scroll 2 fingers. Right here. Want to post?
Yeah, post. Thank you, Dom.
Yeah.
I owe Dom a lot now, boss boy and IT guy, and you know his normal gig of being the producer here for live stream. So, any questions today? Kind of a different topic today. We covered purchase agreements last week, and we talked about the buyer agency contract in the Facebook Connect page. The listing contract for West Michigan Regional hasn't changed that much, but if you have questions, give me a call or fire it off. And Dom says, where is the poem pinned?
Is that one of the things you posted?
Kim, are you not pulling up the Rudyard Kipling poem that says "If"? I posted it 5 minutes ago. It should be. You should be able to pull it up on 5 Star Connect. Yes, no. Let me know. Jason, I said I had a Guinness. What is my favorite IPA? I'm not an IPA fan, to be very honest. Guinness is my only venture away from a nice Pilsner, usually German or Mexican. So I'm not a big IPA guy. What's else? No, Mary, actually, we didn't script it at all. It just happened. And yes, we will laugh about it later. I guess we're laughing about it now. I'm just glad that the computer actually still works. But it did seem scripted, and gosh, it was good. It was well done, don't you think, Dom? I mean, we pulled that off. No, we didn't script it. So. All right. Any other questions before we sign off? Please take this to heart. This is a tough business. And the only way that I have been able to survive for 33 years is maintaining a certain level of distance, keeping my life separate from my business life to some degree, and to make sure that I always watch out for my well-being first. It's a little bit like, if you ever flown on an airplane and they tell the parent to put their air mask on, their oxygen mask on first before you put the child's on. And the first like 500 times that I heard that, I thought, well, that's just wrong. I would put my child's on to protect the child. And then they explained that you put yours on first so that you have oxygen in order to put the child's on. So always take care of yourself first and foremost. You'll be better to your family and to your clients if you do that. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, put them on there. We'll answer them throughout the day. Again, thank you. See you next week.